Well, one streak was going to end tonight. Unfortunately for the Raptors, it was Houston's. That's 9 straight losses for Toronto as Houston snaps their 20-game losing streak. 117-99 is your final. The Raps record now 17-26 on the year. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Raptors Night Cap. Randy Urban alongside Sherman Hamilton, Paul Jones, and Leo Rautins. Sherm, I'll start with you tonight. Just what happened in that fourth quarter?
Well, first of all, you got to give Houston some credit. I mean, it was one of those games where the Raptors put pressure on them to end the third, and I thought Houston responded well in the fourth quarter and really put their foot down. And if you're the Raptors, we see them doing what they did last night against Cleveland, that urgency that they're playing with in the fourth quarter, trying to make up the deficit, and it's not working out for them anymore in terms of being able to close the gap and get the W. So they've got to figure out that they've got to play more consistently through 48 minutes. But, I mean, it was two teams coming in, two teams desperately needed a win, and Houston's walking away with a win. So if you're the Raptors, a lot of soul searching, got to figure it out, because up next it's the Denver Nuggets when you get back to Tampa, and that's going to be a matchup that's going to be difficult. So there's no time to hang your head, and you don't want to see them fragment and separate and start to point the finger at this point. They've got some work ahead of them, though.
Well, Jonesy, 1 point scored in the first basically 4 minutes of the fourth, 4 points in the first 6+. Was Houston really locking in on defense, or was this the Raptors just not being able to manufacture anything offensively?
No, I thought they missed some shots, Randy. I thought they did a good job. I mean, they closed the third quarter on a run. We always talk about starting and finishing quarters well. They finished that quarter well. They were down double figures in that quarter, cut it to, a one possession game. And after cutting it to 90-87, both teams went about 2.5, 3 minutes without scoring. And Toronto had some good looks. And that's what we talk about. You're pushing that rock up the hill, get it up to the top of the hill. Because if it starts to slide back down on you, you've got to muster that energy. And then as Sherm said, I think they played with, as they fell further behind, they played with an increased sense of urgency. And maybe it wasn't the efficiency that was supposed to go along with it. So, it's executing. It's the margin of error is thin. You got to make shots. When you get stops and you go down to the other end, you got to have a quality trip and get a bucket.
For me, Leo, it started in the first half, though. You just can't give up 65 points to this team in the first half, and this seems to be a trend lately for the Raptors defense to start the game, at least.
Yeah, I mean, you look at what they did. Okay, look how they played Utah. Did they give up shots like that against one of the best 3-point shooting team, the team that spaces out, the team that moves the ball? Did they give up those kind of looks to Utah? No, but they did to Cleveland. They did to in this game. So, you have to be able to lock in and play at that same level you're playing against Utah versus these other teams. And these other teams are not as good as that. And, Nick Nurse made that point a while ago that, he wants to see if you can do this against Philly, you can do this against Milwaukee, you can do this against, Utah, you can do this against the other teams. And I think that's very frustrating for a coach because, you're talking about the personnel. Okay, OG not available, but the personnel is the same as you played against Utah. So you have to find a better way to dig in. And during the course of the game at different stages, the Raptors showed they can take these things away. So if you can do it in those, it's got to be a consistent effort. And now we talked about this last time. I'm going to pull back on it too and say, I do not know the level of Pascal's conditioning. I do not know the level of Fred. Fred is remarkable to me that he's played 3 straight games, 40 minutes or more, and having a game like this. But that he still can't be 100% of what he's doing. You don't have OG again. Norm continues to be a surprise to me because when the Raptors need him most, he's not there. Regardless of the numbers he finishes with, when the Raptors need him most, he's not there. And right now, in light of everybody else's situation, that's killing this team.
So, Sherm, take me inside this locker room then tonight, because for me personally, I thought this was a game they'd win. I just didn't think that they would let Houston end their streak against Toronto, just the way the season has gone and the type of team Toronto has shown in the past. So So what's being said in that locker room after this game, and who's saying it, do you think?
Well, first of all, I don't want anybody to be happy. I don't want anybody to be smiling and feeling okay, not even okay about what's going on. I think, in that locker room, your leaders have to speak up. Your leaders have to be vocal and be very, very honest about what's happening. This is not a time to kind of pet people and make sure their ego is okay. It's about nitty gritty, and it's about getting down to what's happening with this squad. Some ugly conversations, but I think when you lose, you have to have those conversations. But the ultimate thing to me is, what is the attitude coming out of this game? Is there a belief that you can win? Is there an understanding of how to get back to your winning ways? Or are people, as I said, going to fragment and start to point the finger, and you see separation in the group? And that's when you're really in a bad situation. So I expect the leaders to keep this thing together, to challenge this team, to challenge each other, to figure this out, because this could go on for a little bit if they don't get this thing together. They've got a tough stretch at home, and it's not going to get easy. So you got to have people collectively understanding the urgency of what's happening without separating and becoming islands in the locker room and saying, hey, it's the other guy's fault.
Jonesy, just on the back of that, at 6 losses, it was probably the same types of conversations. Now 7, now 8, now it's 9. More urgency, panic. What else are you seeing in there tonight after the game?
Well, I think urgency, and I think you're seeing the urgency in their play, but I don't necessarily think it's all effort. I really do think it's some execution. Into what Leo was saying, health is a part of it, and everybody was happy when they got the guys back against Utah. It was a game that they probably should have won, and might have made these others different. And, Kyle said it after the last night. It's like the beginning of the year, trying to get the first win, just get the first one and get your footing under you. And that's what the issue is right now. They just need to get one. And, it's as Sherm said, it's staying together. You can't start pointing fingers now, but you do at the same time have to hold one another accountable for things that are eventually going to lead to wins if they're not being done in the course of the game.
Leo, I thought one of the bright spots was Pascal tonight, just based on the way he started the game, a little bit more aggressive. He was determined to get to the rim or get around the rim. I just feel like that's the way he's got to play, from the jump and every game. What else did you like from him?
Well, I agree. I mean, when the Raptors hit their stride, that's the way Pascal was playing, right? He was attacking, he was getting inside. When there's a good mix to his game, I don't have an issue with taking a few threes, but the threes can't be the focus of his game. And I think tonight he did a good job of establishing inside. He tried to get inside, but I'm seriously concerned about where he's at physically. You could tell he's lost weight. You could tell that he gets winded quickly. And when you get winded and you don't have that stamina to continue to finish, and when you do step out, a lot of your shots fall short. That's kind of out of his control right now. And he's obviously trying to get it back. But overall, I mean, I like what he's trying to do. I have no issue with the effort and how he tried to do things. I just don't know what he can, fully do. That's the issue.
And Sherman, from Fred's perspective, Leo mentioned just the number of minutes that he's playing, especially coming off the layup that he had. I thought he was much more efficient tonight, shot the ball really well. Like, are there some positives here that we can take going forward?
There's always positives with Fred. I just think, his ability to play through things and just be mentally tough. And you look at that run they had at the end of the third quarter, that 13-2 run, Fred had 8 of the 13 points. And this is another night where Fred plays over 40 minutes since he's been back. So Fred is leaving it all out there. And to me, this is who we've become accustomed to him being, whether he's 100% or not 100%. He finds a way to impact the game positively. So I tip my hat to Fred. I mean, he could have quit and said, look, I'm not putting myself through this. We're not winning games. I need to sit out till I get completely healthy if he's not. But he's in this battle and he's trying to gut it out for his team. And to me, that's the kind of leadership that eventually gets you over the hump.
Jonesy, from a basketball standpoint, just looking at what John Wall did today, I know he didn't shoot the ball very well, and he continues to kind of struggle shooting it from deep. But it's got to feel good for a guy like that, right? To have those kind of injuries, get his first triple-double since 2016. You know, as former basketball players in this group, like, you must feel for a player like that in those moments.
Well, he's come all the way back. He's had a serious injury. You know, we heard the reports about how he was looking in the summer in Miami when he was working out down there, and Washington eventually decided to deal him. But look, the guy has all kinds of talent, and the question, the jury has always been out on him. Can he consistently be a winning player, a guy that not just puts up numbers, but is a leader and leads his team to wins? And that's the issue right now. Nobody ever had a problem with John Wall's talent. Is, can this guy lead a team? Can this guy
I have
lead
no
a team?
issue with talent. I have an issue with, can he lead? And
Yeah, and then
I'm not
me
sold
too,
on
Leo.
that. And
And the
I'm not judging him
decision-making.
now coming back from injury, but I'm not sold on that.
Yeah, and that's it, Randy. I mean, you hear it from, you know, a guy that's been in a locker room and been on an NBA floor, and that's the question people have about John Wall. But I'm sure he feels good tonight. They break a losing streak. He's got a triple-double. You know, for one night anyway, he's okay.
Leo, it's just because you can't do that 360 layup, right? Is that?
Come on. I would have dunked it.
Wow.
And then going to the hospital.
Leo, it was your birthday the other day. The last thing you dunked was donuts.
Yo,
Yeah,
Leo,
right? Right. Okay.
Yeah. Do you have that gift? I think
I'm just dreaming. I'm just dreaming out loud.
Do you have that birthday gift handy from the other night?
That's why I'm kind of delusional right now. I finished the bottle, so just kidding.
All right. Last 10 seconds, Sherman. Right the ship Wednesday against Denver. The Raptors have to do what?
Everything. They got to defend.
Right.
They got to make shots. They got to play together. They got to play 48 minutes. You name it. They got to rebound. Everything has to happen on Wednesday against the Denver Nuggets. And if you're the Raptors, you should be desperate enough to try and do everything for 48 minutes to try and get a W at this point.
All right, guys, I appreciate you doing this. We will see you Wednesday night. Raps take on the Nuggets, 7:30 p.m. Eastern from Tampa. See you then.
Thanks for watching. You can click to watch our last episode or to subscribe to the Toronto Raptors YouTube channel so you don't miss an episode.